You've already started to listen to a MultipleSources.net podcast, and for more episodes of It's Always Sunny in Phoenix podcast, as well as other content such as other NBA teams, pro wrestling, and even comic books, oh what? Visit MultipleSources.net. And if you want to join the MS family, go to their website. MS is always looking for more writers and other podcasts, as well as video editors. If you want to join the family, just go to MultipleSources.net and check out the sidebar or something. They got something set up. Check it out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the It's Always Sunny in Phoenix podcast. This is a weekly podcast where we talk about all things Phoenix Suns basketball. We're three Suns fans. I'm Mitch, and I'm joined by Charlie and David. How's it going, guys? Wait. Charlie and David aren't here today. Sometimes life gets in the way, and both of them are pretty busy, so we're reaching uncharted territory on the podcast here, doing our first one-man show. Before we get into anything, send us an email if you have questions or suggestions or anything. We want to hear from you. sunnyinphxpod@gmail.com. And then Facebook, Twitter, all that. Just search Sunny in Phoenix. We're there. iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review, all that. Everything that you hear on every podcast you listen to anyway. We're all about that stuff too. So, let's get into it. Charlie, do you have any topics you want to talk about today? Oh, right. Yeah, he's not here. It's just me. Okay, David, you? No, sorry again, I forgot. Okay, so I thought that this would be a good time to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about what I do. In the last episode, I talked about how I've been working for the D-League, and it's been a really great experience so far. It's really cool to be able to say you work for a pro team. That's kind of the thing that I've been saying. Everyone I've been working with has kind of been talking about. It's pretty cool. Again, I mentioned this last time, but Teamwork Online is your best friend. It's a website where all teams, if you're looking NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, all kinds of organizations will post job openings. And a lot of times they're just posting something because it's a formality, they have to, and they're planning on hiring from the inside. But teams often will be looking for some entry-level positions, and they're willing to hire from the outside. So just keep your eye on Teamwork Online. That's the best advice I can give to someone trying to get started. That's what I did. Just look on Teamwork Online all the time. So if you want to work in sports and you don't have Teamwork Online, the first step should be make an account on Teamwork Online. But anyway, it's cool to go into the office and see, here's our 2011 D-League championship trophy. It's pretty cool to see every day first thing when you walk in. And, seeing signed basketballs and framed jerseys and things like that are, it's really cool to see. I'm really lucky. I don't want to take it for granted, and, just got to work hard and see what can happen. I had some pretty good advice given to me the other day saying, when it comes to this kind of thing, to professional sports, getting in is hard. But once you get that foot in the door, you just have to be the very best you can be, no matter what you're doing. Whether you're doing social media or sales or whatever, you have to just be the very best at that thing. And then that'll get the attention of some people. And, if I went into the GM's office and had spent a bunch of time writing a scouting report or something and put it on his desk and said, "Oh, I've spent a lot of time. I was wondering if you could look at this," he'd probably say, "I know all this already. Get back to your job." So it's, it takes a lot of hard work, and that's just life. You just got to always work as hard as you can and try your very best, and, good things will come. So keep working hard for sure. Let's get into some more Suns related and just basketball-related stuff in general. So one piece of news I want to highlight is that Troy Williams, the Summer League standout, he signed with the Memphis Grizzlies. I think that's a great move for the Grizzlies. Williams really showed quite a bit of potential and some really solid play in the Summer League. You can head over to our website, multiplesources.net/Phoenix Suns, and read our writer Ben's write-up about Marquise Chris and Troy Williams. And Ben wrote a really great write-up about Williams and what he did in the Summer League. So if you missed Summer League or just want to know a little bit more, head over there and check that out. But Williams is a guy who it's looking like he'll get some D-League minutes, I'm kind of thinking. So I'm pretty excited because it looks like he's going to be a guy that I'm going to be able to watch play because the Iowa Energy, the team I work for, is the D-League affiliate of the Grizzlies. So it'll be pretty cool to see him play. If he's playing D-League, I'm not quite sure what the plan will be there, but it'd be cool to get to see him play. And then one thing that kind of has been going around is more talk about Brandon Knight's role and him coming off the bench, who the starting five will be, and who the starting backcourt will be more specifically. So I'd like to talk about that just a little bit, give my thoughts. If you've listened in the past, you know that my opinions vary a little bit from Charlie and David's when it comes to Brandon Knight. I like Brandon Knight. I know he's streaky, but when he's on, he's on. And one thing that I think we all can agree on is that he would be a great sixth man. And if he's having an off night, so what? You know, his ability to get hot quickly outweighs the bad nights that he might have, in my opinion. So coming off the bench, I think he'd be perfect. And I think if he was coming off the bench, he would be an automatic sixth man of the year candidate. And last year, when he was starting with Eric Bledsoe at the beginning of the season, he was putting up good numbers. He played well with Bledsoe. So that's one thing that, you know, the coaching staff will definitely have to think about. You know, they can look at those numbers and look at the tape and say the two played well together, and kind of see what they think, if it's worth trying them together again. But I'm not sure what'll happen. I just think this team is loaded with young talent. We have a very young core, but a key to being a fan of a young team with lots of potential is being patient. So it'll take a lot of time. And Brandon Knight is a guy who I think is still developing. It's hard to say what his ceiling will be at this point. He's still pretty young, and there's still room for him to grow for sure. And then also one thing that definitely needs to be highlighted is that Leandro Barbosa re-signed with the Suns, and that is just an awesome move. I love that signing. Bringing in Jared Dudley and Barbosa, it's kind of a throwback to the 2010 teams a little earlier than that. You know, it's going to be great to have those guys come in and mentor the young guys. And I think Barbosa and Dudley know that's kind of what their role is going to be, and I think they'll embrace it. And, you know, they still have a little bit left in the tank for sure. So it'll be good to see them again. And one of the first things I thought when we signed Barbosa was, I sure hope he wears number 10 again, because seeing other people in that number 10 uniform, no offense to Chase Budinger or anything, it just didn't seem right for the Suns. I know that 10 probably isn't a number that will be retired or anything like that, but Barbosa and the number 10 in Phoenix just go together for me. That's what I think of. But he decided to wear 19, and his reasoning was as a tribute to Raja Bell. So I just thought, you know, that's probably the next best thing. So really glad to have Barbosa back. looks like he's playing a little international ball as the Olympics get started, playing for Brazil. It's really exciting. But speaking of international play, got to talk a little bit about the Olympics here. I really, unfortunately, was not able to watch a whole lot of these games. The first game we had was back on July 22nd, and the U.S. beat Argentina 111-74. Played that game in Las Vegas. It was a good game to start out with. Argentina they have a pretty feisty team. Pretty easy win for the U.S. as most of our international games are. But Argentina put up a fight. I was able to see the second half of this game, and things got a little chippy. But it's one thing that it made me realize is how much talent this U.S. team has, even though so many guys are sitting out. And this is a topic that's been talked about quite a bit, but it just makes me think like the U.S. could go with just about any starting lineup they wanted and still be leaps and bounds above their competition. Still so much talent, and it's pretty interesting to get to see the new Warriors trio, kind of trio. Well, it is three, but it's not the one most people would think of. But Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green all on the floor at the same time. Steph is not playing in the Olympics this year, which is probably good because he had some nagging and new injuries in the playoffs, but still it's interesting to get a first look at that. And then on the 24th of July, we had the U.S. beating China 106-57. They played that game in the Staples Center in L.A. And then coming up, it looks like the U.S. will play China again on the 26th, and that's in Oracle Arena in Oakland. And then other locations for the exhibition games include Chicago, and then Houston, and then obviously Rio. But that's the real deal. I think it's pretty cool that it's not a whole lot of cities, but U.S. basketball is moving around the country a little bit, so people can see these exhibition games. Las Vegas, L.A., Oakland, Chicago, Houston. They don't go too far east, but it's pretty cool to get to see. So, any thoughts, Charlie or David? Oh, right. I keep forgetting they're not here. It's just very odd to do a single person podcast, but we got to put out a podcast every week. That's something that we're pretty proud of. We've never missed a week since we started about 6 months ago. We really enjoy doing the podcast, and I want to take a minute to thank quite a few people here. First, I want to thank all the listeners. This podcast has grown quite a bit since we started, and we're really happy about that. We've seen our views, that kind of stuff go up. I love seeing comments. Whenever I see that email to our email address, sunnyandphxpod@gmail.com, whenever I see that, an email from YouTube pop up saying, you got a comment on your video, I love seeing that. And, we've had mostly positivity, little negativity, and, I like reading it all. It makes us better. It helps us realize, people are liking what we're doing. And I also want to thank especially all of our international listeners. I know how important basketball is across the world, and with the Olympics coming up too, I've thought a lot about how thankful I am to have listeners from all over the world. And it's cool, the Suns have, one of our greatest players of all time is Canadian, in Steve Nash. We've got Barbosa back on the team from Brazil. We've got Dragan Bender, who was born in Bosnia but identifies his nationality as Croatian. We had Mirza Teletovic on the team last year. we've had countless guys, and there's so many international players in the NBA, and that's so cool. It's so amazing to see how we can all be united through the sport of basketball. It's something that I really enjoy looking into, and so thank you to all the international listeners. I know people may have been listening to hear more about what we had to say about Mirza Teletovic or Bender or whatever, but that's really cool. We're really happy about that. I have to thank Charlie and David for sure for holding down the fort so many times when I was gone, and for just being awesome people to work with. And, I think this is a great opportunity to kind of explain how we got started here at Multiple Sources. I think this might be a fun story for people to hear, especially those who have been listening from day one. So what happened was about a year ago, actually, Dave, the guy who started Multiple Sources, shout out to Dave, he's great, posted something on Reddit about looking for new writers and podcasters for his up-and-coming podcast and blog network. And Charlie, David, and I all were interested. None of us had ever met before. This was just a Reddit thing. We all saw it. We all saw the post, and we said, this is something that we'd be interested in doing. I had done quite a bit of college basketball writing before, and I really liked it, and I was looking forward to getting more involved with NBA writing and podcasting. I had never done a podcast before, so I was excited to try that out. So we all responded to this thread, and a couple weeks later, everything got set up, and we all met each other and just started talking, just sending messages on Google Hangouts, getting to know each other, doing some writing together. We didn't start doing the podcast right away because it's quite a bit of stuff to figure out for three people who have never done a podcast before. Luckily, David is what I like to call a wizard, and he filled us in quite a bit on a lot of the audio and different techniques for editing and things like that, and he knows his stuff, so that's really, really helpful for sure. But we all started talking, and it's really become something that I know I look forward to every week, getting to sit down and talk with them and do this podcast. But anyway, after writing about half the season, we got the podcast started back in January, and our first episode, oh man, it was a train wreck. It was, I can't listen to it. I really can't go back and listen to it, but I'm really happy to see how far we've come, and I still think we make so much improvement with each episode. I'll let Charlie and David be the judges to see if we improved on this episode or not, but we'll see. But yeah, that's really how it started, just a random Reddit thread, and we were all kind of nervous at first about, would this be something that would work out? How long would this last? How dedicated will each person be? And man, we all have about the same level of dedication. So it's something that is really, really exciting, and something that I don't see an end in sight. We're going to keep doing this for as long as we can. It's really enjoyable. We're going to keep growing, and we just need all the listeners on our side for sure. And I know that it's amazing that we have people from all over the world listening to us talk about our favorite team, the Phoenix Suns. I also need to thank Ben, the newest addition to our team, who's our writer. He has written some really great stuff. And again, multiplesources.net/Phoenix Suns. Check that out for his work. Really good. Charlie, David, and I have all gone through quite a few changes lately, and makes us really busy. And Ben is getting that content up there on the website, and he's doing a really great job. So definitely have to thank him. And again, just thank you to all the listeners for sure. So now I know this is a pretty short podcast here, but I'm going to go into my, let's see if I can get this right, face melting metal minute. I think that's what we're calling it now. Okay, whatever. That's what I'm going with. Today, if you listen to these segments consistently, you know that I plug a different metal album every week, and it's my favorite kind of music to listen to, and I really like prog metal, and Periphery, one of my favorite bands, came out with Periphery 3 Select Difficulty last Friday, and wow, it is amazing. It is so good. Very diverse, very interesting. My favorite tracks are, this is tough to choose. The Way the News Goes, what a great track. Absalom, I really like. Loon is just a masterpiece. Those are probably the three that really stick out in my mind, but the whole album is amazing, and just listen to it from front to back. It's really great for sure. There's something for everyone to enjoy who likes heavier music. There's some kind of Deftones type stuff on there that's really good. There's stuff that's a little more melodic, stuff that's a little more amelodic, a lot of great guitar work, a lot of great bass work. Wow, I've been amazed with the bass on the album. But yeah, it's just a joy to listen to. I love it. So check that out for sure. Periphery 3 Select Difficulty. So I know this is a short episode, but we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for listening again. Thank you. And Charlie, David, any last remarks? Oh, you almost expected him to come on there, didn't you? No, it's still just me. Okay, anyway, we'll see you next week, and thanks for listening. Go Suns.